After months without a major rollout of game announcements for the 2020 Switch lineup, Nintendo has finally lifted the curtain a bit more on their plans for the rest of the year. As I'm sure many of you know, a huge swath of the internet has been meticulously counting down the gap in Nintendo Directs, many of whom will undoubtedly still not count this and continue to count down the days until a quote-unquote real Direct happens. My question for today is, though, for the average Nintendo fan, was this mini Direct worth the wait? Let's talk about it. Outside of the unfortunate yet completely expected and understandable disclaimer that many of the games featured in this presentation could be hit with delays as a result of the current pandemic, Nintendo started out the Direct pretty strong in my opinion by further detailing one of the most anticipated games of the year, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I for one was on the fence on this remake when it was initially revealed last year, since it wasn't too long ago since I attempted to play through the new Nintendo 3DS port. I figured there's no real reason to try and fail to play through a near decade-old game, only for me to quit halfway through to only play Smash Brothers for the next month. But they threw a bit of a curveball in the form of a new epilogue entitled Future Connected. This, for me at least, is enough for me to get on board for this game. New story content is enough for me to want to get my hands on it now, because it will feel more like a connected experience, no pun intended, with other people in the zeitgeist. And I'm all about those water cooler moments when it comes to playing through games. I'm looking forward to experiencing this game effectively for the first time when it comes to Nintendo Switch, tentatively on May 29th. Next, there was a few pretty big announcements in terms of Western third-party dev representation via a 2K Games Loves Nintendo Switch hype reel. In this trailer, it was announced that the full BioShock collection, Borderlands Legendary Collection, and XCOM 2 collection are coming to Nintendo Switch also on May 29th. And maybe it's just me, but this is a release I hope gets moved around a bit. Not because I have no interest in these games, I'm at least going to pick up the BioShock collection. I just think that all of this is way too much to drop all on May 29th. Understand that some people feel that we've been going through a drought, but we can use at least a little bit of time to breathe in between these releases. That aside, despite what I feel is a general disdain for ports in the hardcore Switch fan base, I always like to see more major franchises make their way to Nintendo platforms that were unthinkable in the past decade or so. And I'll add that, at this point, the chances of me playing non-Nintendo Switch games are very slim. A game has to be major for me to pull out my PS4 or Xbox One these days. So releases like this only have the chance of me playing them on my Switch. I'm happy to see them make their way over. Animal Crossing New Horizons was already slated to receive Eastern-themed content, but until today we have yet to hear what that entailed. Now though, we finally got the details on that. The event will prompt Zipper the Bunny to come to your island with the challenge of finding all of the eggs he will hide there, which can be used to craft exclusive Bunny Day themed items. This event will take place between April 1st and April 12th. Nintendo also announced another April event that will include an Earth Day event and other features. I have a ton of thoughts on New Horizons as a whole after having played it for a little over a week now. In fact, that was supposed to be what today's video was about. If you've been enjoying this video and would like to see my early review of New Horizons, make sure you're subscribed so you'll see when it goes up on Tuesday. Okay, good job for subscribing. And also, it's the title of the next game in the Direct. Developed by Nintendo, it's a puzzle game wherein you do several jobs in varying fields. How you choose to go about doing those jobs can be straightforward or a more creative approach that will impact how much you earn on those jobs. This is the first game that's available today for $20, by the way, that I'm definitely going to play. I really like the style and the premise is endearing, so after finishing my daily Animal Crossing New Horizons tasks, I'll be picking this game up. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was already slated to get more fighters by way of the Fighters Pass 2. We now know that the first fighter in that, Challengers Pack 6, will feature a character from ARMS, which I'm pretty excited to see, honestly. I personally loved the gameplay and style of the original ARMS game, and was disappointed to hear that the development cycle for Smash and ARMS didn't align well at launch, so we couldn't get a full-on fighter in the game. I'm glad they decided to revisit it though, because the ARMS character design is fantastic, and I think whoever they pick will fit perfectly in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I just hope it's either Min Min or Twintail, and that they're better than Byleth competitively. Just based on what I know of Smash Brothers and ARMS, I can see whoever they pick having really good aerial mobility, but slightly lower than average ground mobility, durability, obviously really good range, maybe a tether recovery, think Little Mac but reversed. That could be a recipe for a pretty good character in my opinion. As far as the stage they pick, it'll probably be the theme stage for whatever ARMS fighter they choose to use in Smash Bros, but it could be a more general stage to represent more of the ARMS cast as a whole. On that note, something tells me ARMS will likely grow into a full-on Nintendo franchise with at least one sequel. The original sold phenomenally for a fighting game not called Smash Bros, and I think the game's world has a lot of potential to ingratiate itself to the masses. Also, Nintendo announced that they'll be making the original game available to try for free for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers from today to April 6th. I haven't played a ton as of late, but I'm definitely planning to pick it up again thanks to this boost in publicity, and again, I think that this further supports the idea that Nintendo could still be theoretically making a sequel to the original game at some point. Clubhouse 51 Worldwide Classics is a game I would usually ignore, but as it turns out, recently I've been playing a lot of board and card games with my family, so this announcement came at a perfect time, a time when everyone near me is looking for something different to play all of the time. Having 51 games that are easy to play in one concise package is nice. I would have preferred if this was one of the games that was available today to play, but I will say making it available to pre-purchase today for when it releases for $40 is a good strategy because I'll probably still do that. Ninjala is a game that I've been looking forward to since its initial reveal in Nintendo's 2018 E3 Direct, and that hasn't changed since then, so seeing an update on the game with details on different fighting styles and abilities, as well as the announcements that the game is only a little over 2 months away and that it will be free to play, has me pretty excited to jump in with a group of friends when it finally launches. I think this game has strong Splatoon vibes, which could have turned out bad if it was a rush job, but given the fact that they pushed its release a full year, gives me confidence that Ninjala will at least be a fun enough alternative for those that aren't into the concept enough to pay full price for Splatoon 2 proper, and for people that have Splatoon 2, it'll potentially be a nice change of pace in a style that's familiar and beloved. Nintendo capped off the Direct with perhaps my most anticipated upcoming Nintendo Switch 2020 release, being the expansion pass for Pokemon Sword and Shield. We now know how we can evolve Kubfu into Urshifu with our preferred fighting style. Challenging either of the Towers of Two Fists will decide which style you get. As for me, I'm thinking I'll go with the Dark Tower since I picked Sable as my starter. Speaking of that, the Gmax forms for the Galar region starters were also detailed with their moves being shown off. We still don't know exactly how we'll acquire these forms or whether or not we can obtain all 3 Gmax forms if we have all 3 starters, but we're set to find out about that and more when the Isle of Armor expansion releases by the end of June. And those are some of the March Direct announcements that caught my attention, and I have to say, for me, for those reasons, this Direct was definitely worth the wait. I don't know if I'm alone in that or not, but that's what the comment section is for. Let me know in the comments what you thought of today's mini Direct. Also, if you want to hear my thoughts in addition to Parker's thoughts on the rest of the announcements made during this mini Direct today, subscribe to our podcast channel. We'll be doing a roundup of everything, so be sure to check that out this Saturday if that's something that interests you. Also, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell here if you haven't already so you can be notified when new videos go up every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, that's it for me. See you next week.